think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
Do not trust any friends or family members. I repeat, do not trust friends.
Yeah, no, isn't he? I thought that's what he wanted. Didn't he buy up all the farmland in America? Like all different things, and he just wants to, he wants to like genetically like modify it so that we become addicted or sick, and then he would like to also then sell us pharmaceuticals. It's just
that is
round
not
robin.
That is not something I'm aware of.
Is that not something? I might have made some of that up.
I think maybe
all
you fell
it?
down a right-wing fantasy talking point about old Bill Gates. I don't think those are real things.
Well, I'm at it. Elon's genius.
Beautiful mind.
He's a
Beautiful
mind. Absolute fucking loser.
Well, I mean, he can't. The thing is, it's so tough because I agree with you that, like, on paper he's a loser, but on paper he's also like one of the greatest winners on planet Earth.
Yeah. Why does he look like a bag of milk then?
Yeah, right. I don't know how that happens because, like, all the other billionaire assholes, like your brother had shared that other day, like they've gone out of their way to try to masculinize themselves and like put on a bunch of muscle and do this and do that.
Yeah, at least Donald did a little bit, hit the spray tan.
Yeah, his is a perfect sort of superficiality. Literally a spray. Like, I wonder, have we ever seen him spray tan? Like, how does that get on his body?
Elon? Or
No, Donald, racist grandpa. Yeah.
Yeah, he has to spray tan. There's no way that he's tanning.
Yeah.
I guess he lives pathetic and fat.
Doesn't he like live in Florida though? Like, he probably just hangs out in the sun a lot.
It's too orange.
With cream on his face. Something's going on.
It's a spray. Yeah.
Permanently dyed. I don't know. It's very strange. I know this has been commented. Like, it's not like the first time anyone's ever talked about how orange this guy is, but like,
I know.
I've reached the point now where it's actually started to become something that I'm interested in.
Yeah. Also, I apologize for calling the Supreme Commander fat and pathetic.
Well, you got to be careful. Yeah, this stuff's on the, like, once AI starts scraping the internet for comments about El Dictatore.
They're gonna get rid of us.
Yeah, we're gonna get canceled.
Not the camp for Canadians.
Oh, don't worry though. We're gonna set up bunkers and work. They're gonna have to do urban pacification, I think that's called.
Is that right?
Against the resistance force, of which I will. I wondered when they're like, I would certainly protest in some way, like, but would I go to war in order to stop Canada from being invaded? I don't think I would, unless, like, probably might become a terrorist at some point. But I think
sort of a quasi-fascist style terrorist.
No. What do you mean
Batman?
by that? Oh, yes. Well, yeah, I guess I could do that. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Good thinking. Here on the Extinction Agenda with James.
Oh, James.
I usually don't do the
only
James.
Yeah, it's only James. Well, there you go.
And we're doing Batman, The Dark Knight, Master Race, issue 1 through 9. That's a funny thing. Like, I didn't read a whole lot about the production of this thing. So there are going to be questions that will be unanswered unless you read some interviews or something. But this thing was supposed to be 8 issues long, but it ended up being 9. It started in January of 2026, and then February came out, and then April, and then June, and then August, December, February. So we got like a two month. It comes out every 2 months.
Oh.
And then suddenly it goes to May and then June of 2017. So it just kind of dragged out.
So you couldn't collect it even if you wanted to.
Well, I guess you could have been, but you would just I just can't imagine how. Like, I read the first issue, I'm pretty sure, when it came out, and I was like, this is not for me. And the audience in general felt the same way because it started off as the #1 comic, selling 146,000 units, and by the time the last issue came out, it had slipped to fifth at 103,000 units. So not everybody left, but like, I don't know, a
That
third of
that
the audience.
pacing will really put a nail in your coffin though. Like those
Yeah.
pacing errors where
Yeah.
you're not putting out like a proper product.
Yeah.
And I mean, how, like, I'm sorry, like, it's 2025, man. This isn't like the first time we tried to do a serialized graphic novel, the first time we had trouble with a comic artist. Like, this isn't fucking Image. Like, what the fuck? How do you fuck up pacing now? Like,
It's remarkable that it
really,
still happened.
how? Like, how?
Yeah.
Like, you can't like, you're not established that we're contracted to do this on this timeline, or that you have a fail safe, or that you're working with someone slow and you put half of it in the bag in advance. Like, what the fuck? I'll never get that. I don't think it's professional. I don't think it's intelligent from a publishing standpoint. I don't, and yeah, like, fuck your sales in the ass if that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that listening to or reading from going to name drop Tom Brevoort again, but he talks about how he managed the Avengers for fucking 25 years, whatever. Like he was behind like the release of like the new Jonathan Hickman's Avengers run, Fantastic Four run, and then also what else? Civil War. And all the other, that's pretty much like every major event in Marvel, like he was behind, that didn't have an X in front of it. And he, I don't know, like it sounds like it is white knuckle driving every fucking week in the comics industry. Like the pace of it, the industrial pace of it. And like, all you need is one thing to kind of fuck up, and you need like an artist that's just a little slow, can't handle the grueling pace of putting out like 30 pages of art per month. And things break down, and like they do come up with these contingency plans, but it's never sufficient. And they do a balancing of interests. Like, let's say Andy Kubert can't continue drawing this. Do you wait till his wrist is fixed, or do you, what do you do? And I think we see some of the adjustments made through this. Like anytime Klaus Janson shows up to start inking, I feel that like, things went off the fucking rails, and they had to get old Klaus Janson.
Oh man, you know what? I was just reading about him actually, he's an old Frank Miller collaborator also, and I mean, like, he is the consistency. Him and they did some Brad Anderson on colors there, but I think that they're what makes this a product that has an aesthetic and color palette. It's not the other two fucking jerking each other off.
Yeah,
because Andy and Frank certainly aren't doing anything special for me here. They're actually, Frank appears more capable here because he's just doing minimal work, but I do like what he did, and I do think this is better than Dark Knight 2, and also I think his panel layouts are more traditional, but I do think that colorist and Klaus Janson are what sort of tidied it up.
I think you're right. Let's not forget that Brian. So this is a weird thing. Like, this is on paper written by Brian Azzarello, and like the story is Frank Miller, but it also feels like Frank Miller's still really involved in this.
Oh, it feels very Frank.
Yeah, and I don't know what the distribution of labor was there, and like that's one mystery that is going to go unsolved in this conversation, because I kind of wanted to read an interview and figure out what this process was and why Azzarello needed to be involved at all.
And yeah, there's another little piece to that too, in that, like, what, like, yeah, is Brian Azzarello, like you say, is he polishing it up? But why is it still incoherent if he's helping?
I think that it is perhaps more coherent than it would have been. So I'm going to challenge you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
Yeah. Because
Might as
I'll
well.
like, I after our conversation about Dark Knight Strikes Again,
Okay.
I really fell in love with it. I think I ended up loving it more than I'd ever loved it before. And I cannot agree with you that this book is better than Dark Knight Strikes Again.
No. No. Did I say that already?
I think you did. Yeah, you said it's better than Dark Knight 2. You'd said.
No. I said the panel layout's better than Dark Knight 2.
Whoa, okay, right. Okay, good then.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm correcting
you're right
myself
about
because
that.
I actually don't mind
Yeah.
I came around to Dark Knight 2 on our last run through also
Yeah.
in a way where I was like, okay, this was really actually experimental. This was really actually like a pure art project, and you actually had something to say. And I was a dick because when you're a kid and you first really get your first taste of structured comics and what they're supposed to be like, when you're first like, I'm gonna graduate from being like a nerd that saw Kyle Rayner's girlfriend get fridged in a random fucking issue of Green Lantern from the Mike Smart corner store. And then you just start to actually like be like, wait a sec, I'm an aficionado. I'm gonna read fucking Watchmen. I'm gonna read Dark Knight Returns, and then you get fed Dark Knight 2. It's a lot. So it's hard to take.
Yeah. It was hard at the time, but somehow we managed it.
Yeah.
Back to the issue of the panel layouts. So what is the difference here? We're getting a much more density,
They're a
and
bit.
we're. Oh no, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I was gonna say they're theatrical. They remind me of a Marvel, like an Ultimates, sort of a little
Yeah.
more grand. We're looking for a little bit more of a movie style.
Yeah.
They're more traditional, but also still have that like sort of cinema flair. I think versus like Dark Knight or Watchmen. But
Yeah, I think it has much more in common with they are trying to veer towards the Dark Knight in that's what the density says to me. Like you've just got like a lot of panels, you've got a lot of uh, superficial similarities to the Dark Knight Returns, and the traditionality of what I'm noticing, like all of the gutters, so you've got the panels and then you've got the gutters. None of the images break through the panel into the gutters. Like I'm flipping through it right now, and even when the Flash, like his legs are horribly shattered or whatever, it's just like a panel, like he's trapped in a panel. Like it's very tied in, very very hemmed in, unless Frank Miller himself is drawing it, and then it's the opposite. I'm seeing a few variations from what I'm saying in the Kubert art, but for the vast majority of the time, I think I'm right. And I think that adds to the feeling of traditionality to it. It feels even more like the 80s than I think I'd realized for that reason. I was just trying to figure out how they got this effect. We haven't talked. Okay, so
yeah, we haven't talked about how Wonder Woman's lactating at all times.
Yeah.
Quite the.
Well, because she's nursing.
Quite
Well,
the
she's nursing
delivery.
a child.
What from what? Why do I wait a sec? Why do I feel deja vu?
Okay.
Have we
Like,
talked
for
about
real?
Wonder Woman lactating because of Frank Miller and?
I don't think so. I think I'd remember that. No,
Yeah.
this is a glitch in the Matrix. That's what's
Okay,
happening.
that's fine. That's okay.
Yeah. Someone reset the computer.
Ugh, that happens to me a lot. I get reset a lot. Like something's wrong with my pod.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So okay. So what is this? What do we think of this? Let's. We've kind of
okay.
we kind of jumped right to like the structural and production issues, but like, what the fuck is this story?
Okay, this is a well, this is a story of the master race. So it's a I guess it's like a is it like lightly veiled at all? Like it's he's critiquing violent zealotry here. It's a religious zealot
He
coming
is.
from coming from the what do you call it? The
Candor, the bottled city
from
of Candor.
Candor. So he's the uber religious monster coming from the race of Kryptonians, right?
Yeah, we got Quar, who's like some sort of who's the prophet guy that I don't know. I don't like. Okay, I guess
but
we'll
they're
get
not
into
really
it.
no religious really, other than the fact that everyone is sort of like, I guess they're sort of worshiping themselves
Yeah,
as a superior race, but
yeah.
outside of that, they're not really speaking to any specific religion or touting God or anything.
I do think though that we're meant to, what is being evoked is Islam, because it's a Frank Miller comic. So we've got suicide bombers.
Yes, so we're doing
We've got multiple wives, veiled
yes,
wives, that kind of thing.
It's barely veiled. It's anti-Muslim.
Yeah.
It's propaganda.
But I still think you're right though. Like there is they don't speak of Allah or God or anything like that. Like it is shorn of any sort of spiritual faith, and it's much more that they are worshiping themselves and in the form of one guy in particular, this Quar guy and his little henchman Baal, okay, fine, that's happening in this book, but like I still don't know what this book is. Like, I don't.
It doesn't matter because it's actually sort of a small piece. The book's actually like a mess. It's like you said, it's huge, it's dense, and that doesn't actually carry a lot of the narrative like with it,
It does, like it is the main through line, because like there's the final episode issues are just big fights involving all the people from Candor, but like I'm not sure what. I guess maybe cards on the table. I find that this book is regressive. Like I think where Dark Knight Strikes Again left off, the final line where he's like, I was sentimental when I was old, or I don't know, something like that. Or I was sentimental when I was young, and it was kind of this proclamation of creativity and the embrace of the absurdity of the superhero and the cartoonishness of it. And this book is like, I like I don't know if it's the opposite of that, but like they literally, well, yeah, because at the end of Dark Knight Returns, it's got this would be a good death, something like that, and then this one ends off with not only Batman being resurrected younger, but saying like it's going to be a better life. Like it ends on this like. It ends on a note of optimism, but not in any sort of way that is spiritually appropriate to its predecessors. It just says like there's more intellectual product to come from this, and because like I don't know what this book resolves or improves upon or extrapolates upon from the other materials. It's just like kind of another iteration of it. Like, want more of this? Here you go. And I feel even Frank feels the same, because there's no juice in this, and that's why I often blamed Brian Azzarello for the lack of juice in this. I do wonder if it's just Frank out of juice.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, is he just because he cycles back to like sort of like familiar sort of tropes, and yeah, like I don't you like do you think, yeah, like that's what I mean, like for Azzarello, like do you think he's helping or he's just sort of tempering like Frank's like crudeness? Like I don't know if it's.
I got a feeling. My feeling is, if I had to guess, and I am clearly just guessing, is that Frank wrote a treatment, like an extended sort of pitch, Brian Azzarello wrote a script based on the detailed and extensive script or treatment, sorry, and then Frank came in to polish up the dialogue. I feel that something like that happened. But Frank's
like
not
there was
heavily
a
involved
cycle back for Frank,
Yeah, because like this is very much like think about the shitty poetry of your average Frank Miller comic. Her breath smelled like the ashes that you'd pick up from the bar stool floor, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You get none of that stuff in this. It's just very much meat and potatoes. Thank you, ma'am. But you can't say that Frank's not involved because he's actually drawing individual issues and credited as writing them.
Yeah, and there is some,
or the backup story. Sorry.
Yeah, there are some things where it's just like too dumb to be Brian.
Yes. Yeah. Like I don't have a high esteem of Brian Azzarello. Like he's never really done it for me, but I also recognize that he's not like a piece of shit hack. He might be actually, I don't know, but
no,
he has a reputation of not being one.
Yeah. Well, even like shit like this, we're in the interrogation room with Batgirl. What'd you do with the body?
Okay.
I ate it.
Yeah.
What? Like that's fucking it's dumb. It's weird. I'm getting that dumb look. And I'm like, yeah, I can see Frank wrote this treatment. I can see some of the, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's Brian Azzarello didn't write that dialogue. Sorry.
Yeah, it came from somewhere. He did write it.
It came from Frank.
Yeah. Okay.
So I just feel like maybe he was involved with more of the dialogue writing than we think. And it seems like maybe the descriptive parts, like, the basic principle of the Big Bang Theory is that since its inception, the universe is expanding all of it. So it's like some of the pieces where there's like little descriptive bubbles and this story has to be sort of like flushed out larger. It looks like maybe Brian's there, and some of the verbal back and forths look like they feel more Frank to me. But again, like you say, we're just speculating. I'm speculating.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, I like it though. I think but somewhere the truth lay somewhere in everything we're saying. Like, and I like the fact that it is clear on the page that, and also from the fact that there's a co-writing credit. But like, I bet we're right. We're gonna find some interviews or listeners can tell us who, because I was gonna say fans of this story, but there aren't any. This is not. I think this story is really stupid for a lot of reasons. The first reason is that like this isn't actually a Batman story, it's an Atom story. It's about the fact that the Atom got tricked by a microscopic prophet in order to unleash a bunch of people with superpowers, and then like he's shrinking, like he's falling through atoms, into the substrata of the universe throughout the entire story, and then the resolution is him like coming back, right? Everybody's fighting and having all these important things, but he's like, he fucked up and then he comes back and fixes it.
Yeah, which is weird because Frank really leaned on him in Dark Knight 2 as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what his obsession with the Atom is, but the Atom is lame. And also, the Atom got tricked. What made him think that he should go and small talk a bunch of Kryptonians?
Well, because the girl shows up, the Superman's son, their daughter, sorry, Lara.
Yeah, Lara's a nothing burger, also.
Oh yeah, like, and so she shows up, and like the Kandorians want you to unshrink them, and I guess there's some sort of breakthrough. Like he's tried in the past and it didn't work, but all of a sudden it's gonna work. And yeah, like you talk to some other people before you do that, Adam. It's a big decision. That's a big deal. So he just sort of recklessly like goes on in there, and then they steal.
Yeah, not to mention their biology.
It's much super people.
Yeah, as soon as they hit the ground, you've got whatever gajillion Supermen. It's awful. That's so problematic.
Yeah. So he's like, I know what I should do. Good idea. I do think that one thing I do appreciate about this story is that it does respect nuclear explosions in the way that the original Dark Knight did, and in the way that I think that a lot of media ought to. I think nuclear annihilation is something that's fallen out of the popular consciousness, but not for Frank Miller, because he remembers, like the Cold War. And so when the atom brings them back, like it is it is very much like a nuclear bomb goes off, the button, the end. And then one of them, when they explode, they turn, it's a nuclear explosion. So the nuclear threat is present in the proper sort of Dark Knight way. I don't know. Guess that's all right.
Yeah, I did like the Batmobile also is back in the proper Dark Knight sort of way.
The like that, like the tank thing.
Yeah. Batmobile's its own character.
It is, and it's okay. So that's the Atom thing is dumb thing number one. Dumb thing number two. The entire first issue is devoted to making the audience think that Bruce Wayne is dead. Spoilers,
Yes.
He's not, right?
No.
And is it revealed? It's not. I think it's not revealed until issue 2. Actually, no, right at the very end of issue 1. And you're like, oh wow, that's cool, but like, why did that happen?
Is it revealed at the end of issue 1?
Yeah. So like you go through this whole thing. Maybe it's issue 2. It's issue 2 at the end of issue 2. Pardon me.
Oh, okay.
And
the Great Escape.
What were the stakes in that? And then like, why is Superman like? Why is he so upset? Like sitting in the ice and like, what is the value of showing that like, oh, the son of a bitch, he's been holding back this whole time. This whole book is a series of pointless misdirections that like nothing pays off. Like Wonder Woman is actually capable of fighting Laura. You're like, well,
like obviously, like from a nerd perspective, you know
Kara.
that, yeah, because she would obviously not be as strong, but clearly be a more savvy fighter. That's an old martial arts trope.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fucking threw sand in her eyes,
Oh, it is Laura. Pardon me. In one section, I wrote Kara as the stupid fucking Kryptonian names. Yeah, so I don't, and I don't know what the whole point of the release, like, because Racist Grandpa like hadn't been elected yet. That was my first thought. My first thought was, because this would have been in development in 2015. Racist Grandpa would have been running his campaign. He would have been elected 2016, right?
Right.
And you see some of that in this story, but it's not whereas with Dark Knight Returns, like it was a response to Reagan in a lot of ways, and
that's right.
in the Reagan era. And Dark Knight Strikes Again ended up being a response to 9/11. Like they have these strong political valences to them. This one, it just felt tacked on. Like I don't. None of the bite was there. None of the commentary. It was just like, Batman's dead. No, he's not. Superman's given up. No, he hasn't.
Yeah, it was like, what if fascism, and then just like, let's just paste it to Kryptonians. But it didn't. It's not really like, I don't know. I mean, there's Trump's in it, isn't he?
Well, that's it. That's the tacked on part that I'm referring to. Like it's like because at a certain point it would have become. I don't know how many issues they would have had ahead of time. At least 3, given the schedule before things started breaking down. Yeah, but by that time he would have been in office. So at some point he just starts showing up more. You would have expected him to be there like from the hop.
Yeah, you're right. All of a sudden, he sort of gets pulled in. It's probably midway through the book.
Yeah. So it's
And they're
pretty,
still doing the film sort of commentary stuff, like or the TV news commentary.
yes.
Well, it gets there all the way along.
But I never gained a sense of who these. It's a strange thing to say. Like in the other books, they were characters in and of themselves, and you kind of got to know them. Like some of them were. They're trying to do this here. Like I think one of them is supposed to be Jon Stewart or something, and one of them is like I don't know who they're. I guess I just don't. They just feel like generic talking heads, unlike in the previous books, where they were meant to be the sort of generic talking heads, but like they weren't. They still got some love, and you were like, oh, that guy, and oh, I know that's yeah, and yeah. So like it's just like, and then why does Green Lantern come back? And why does his hand get chopped off right away? Like what's that's
And why does he have like Green Lantern blood, like neon green slime? And
yeah, well,
why can he control his hand without it being connected to his body?
because he's been the way I understood it in the previous iterations of this is that he had sort of transcended the ring or entered into the ring or something like that. That's why he has that frog body and the frog life and everything.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And so like it's not the same. It's not your grandpappy's. Well, I think what's shitty about this is that it just turns into your grandpappy's Green Lantern, and he's an idiot who gets his hand blown off, and and then he goes on this quest like to get his hand back in the ring, and you're like, why? It's just so disconnected. I don't feel that the heroes are being celebrated like before. That was the one thing about Dark Knight Strikes Again where it was just like Plastic Man's fucking wild. Like here's the question and here's this, that, and the other thing. And there was just a lot of fun to it. And I don't know. I didn't see anybody having fun this time around.
Well, Batman's having fun. Go to
hell. He's always having fun. Yeah. Those are the basic gripes. It's just kind of a big mess that I don't know what to do with. Like I'm not really going to reread this book, and I'm not going to flip through it for the beauty of its pages either, or the wildness of it or anything.
Oh, I don't know about that. I thought the art was great.
Well,
in a way, like I like the Green Lantern issue, like art wise.
Oh, the JRJR bits.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can put it in front of myself. Yeah, I don't know. Like it's fine. Like, but nothing's happening. Like, and there's nothing iconic or even like an attempted iconography in this.
No.
Like it's like it is. Andy Kubert does an excellent job, despite my complaints. I think he was a good choice for this, and I think, like you said, Klaus Janson doing the overlay on this somehow makes it look like Dark Knight Returns-esque.
Yeah. It's funny. I did think that Andy complimented Frank, and I didn't. I also, the weird thing is I don't feel like he is doing any kind of Frank mimicry, really. I don't.
Every once in a while, I catch a thing.
Yeah, but it looked mostly like he was kind of just doing his own thing, which is weird. But it coupled Frank's stuff pretty nicely.
Yeah. So he's a good cover band in this instance. Playing the hits, but with his own style, which is well earned. Andy's the good one of the two. He just gets handed I would really like to see Andy Kubert on a really good project. Is that so hard? Like I think there's some people listening to me say that who would say, well, actually, James, he's been in. Didn't you read a little something called Logan? Or what was it called? Was it not called Logan? What was it called?
The origin story? Origin?
Yeah. What about Ultimate X-Men? Like, I don't know, like, he work, like, and he also did the thing with Neil Gaiman. Like, strangely, Andy Kubert is your Prestige Comics go-to guy who has never, to my mind, ever done a Prestige work in his entire career. It's like it's a shame because he definitely has the chops. And strangely, I think this book really shows it more than the other books because of its restraint and the density of the imagery. And yeah, I think he's an artist in search for of a subject, and maybe one day we'll get it. Today was not that day.
No, and I'm always surprised too that he can still deliver that same, But then, yeah, like you say, it just doesn't get like the guy's so good, really, and consistent. And it's funny that you don't just say, "Hey, put him with a good writer." I mean, I guess maybe this is that.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think that's what I was gesturing towards. Like, he did 1602 with Neil Gaiman. He did the origin story, which was, whatever. That's a cash grab. This is a big book. Fuck, I like. Wow, I already said Ultimate X-Men, but that's just an X-Men book. I'm trying to think of something else though. He's done a ton. They always bring him in when they want.
It's like he's gotten in there. They've done a ton with him, but he's just never quite. It's like he's almost been like, on paper, it's like, wow, that's a big, excellent project to get, and then in reality, it ends up not quite being what could go down in the history as like a classic book for him.
Yeah. I think I don't know what that would look like or what it would be. I hope to God it doesn't involve him drawing children, but it would. Otherwise, though, I think he could pull off quite a few things. Yeah.
Aquaman entrance was great.
Oh yeah, the old but again, why? Why?
Yeah.
These are all just sort of things that are happening. It was, I guess, because they needed to get to the North Pole quickly to free Superman. So it technically has. I did like how that when they trap Superman in that black matter or whatever.
Oh, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and that was Superman got even more love. The one thing about the trajectory of the Dark Knight franchise is that Superman gets like less and less treated like a bitch throughout, and finally in this one, like it's rehabilitated. So I think maybe the real story of this is like how the Atom's ridiculous error allowed Superman to reemerge as a moral force or something like that, and I guess like physically regenerate Batman. Like there's something about this action of releasing Kryptonian terrorists that sets the universe aright again and like recreates the heroes of old. I don't know why that would be. I don't know what the deeper reading is. I think if I just bullshitted long enough, I would say something that sounded reasonable. But
yeah, I think that's the hard part is that like there's no subtext. And there usually is, at least a little bit.
Yeah. I think there's lots of scattered subtext, like some kind of, it just doesn't cohere. Like it just doesn't add up to anything in the end. Yeah, it's just a lot of big fights, a lot of, like I said, pointless misdirections. Batman's dead. No, he's not. Oh, Batman's dead again. No, he's not. And yeah, just big set piece fights. And eventually, kind of a nice wrap up conclusion. The bad guys get kicked to the sun. That was nice. I always like when something gets kicked to the sun. She doesn't kick it though. She flies them out there. But that was actually a pretty good splash page. I'll looking at that now.
Yeah, is it problematic that that's their power source? Is that covered anywhere?
Well, he's about to explode though. Like he's detonating, so they're just putting the detonation on.
Oh, they're just popping the detonation then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. Die. Yeah. It is a big problem that Laura is, like you already said, a big nothing burger, but like she's really nothing though. I don't know what her motivation is. I don't know why she's the Zendaya of the Superman family.
Yeah, is it that's funny. Is she because she's it's just she doesn't have any, like you say, there's no motive either for her to do that. She's like, I'll just betray my only family for a bunch of aliens that I don't understand because I'm having some teenage angst and like I don't have any faith in my mother and father.
Yeah. Now, admittedly, he's an absentee father and a real bitch mother. So maybe we should cut her some slack.
Yeah, that's fair.
Young kids on the internet tend to get radicalized. That said, though, I still think you're right. Like, what is she doing? Like, maybe she's trying to help at first. I think that so she ends up with that Bal guy. Like, if it was revealed that she was just horny and misdirected, manipulated, that kind of thing, fine, we got a character. We got something. But she's just on a drop of a hat, she'll just fight her dad and beat the fucking shit out of him. And he won't fight back. And she's just going to view that as like, you're being a pussy, dad. Like,
yeah,
beat your daughter.
That's
she just wants to get beaten up. I think that's her motivation in this. Nobody is able to beat her up, and she just needs it real bad.
She just needs a beating.
Yeah, and which is, there's some misogyny attached to that, but I think the text bears it out. Because even her boyfriend or whatever, where they get into a little tussle and like she punches him in the face. First she kicks him in the face, and then punches him, and then makes out with him. Yeah.
I have to admit the kryptonite acid rain was great.
Oh yeah, and then they show up both in their costumes. They're both battle armor things.
Yeah, it was a cool moment, cool reveal.
The funny thing about that cool reveal, though, is just like it ought to have been the very end of the story, but it wasn't. So you got this cool thing, and then actually it didn't quite fully work, and they got away. You're like, what?
I know, because it was such a well plotted thing.
Yeah.
And then it's like keeping drones in orbit over Gotham undetected takes money.
Mm-hmm.
Seeding clouds with synthetic kryptonite takes an enormous leap of faith. I have money and I have synthetic kryptonite. It was such a cool, like you say, it should have been like the coup de grace or whatever. And it was just like, oh no, I'm halfway through this book. Other Kryptonians like ran away and shake their fists at them. We'll get you next time. And you're like, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why we did that. Yeah. I just that's the thing. Like this, there's so much. I think maybe that's the big issue for me, is just like everything that happens after that. Because like Bruce dies at the end of that issue, supposedly, and there could have been another issue after that, where they resurrect him and everything, and it would have been like a little epilogue where they deal with the Guar or Quar, whatever his name is. But yeah, just keeps going. Time to introduce the Hawk people. Time for Green Lantern to get his comeuppance. It's like, not his comeuppance, but his revenge. And you're like, why? This has nothing to do with the major plot. Like the three wives of Quar did not need their own subplot.
It really didn't. It was unclear what they were doing or what was happening. I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a bad problem for a book that looks this good. I like the scene where they resurrect Bruce Wayne, like the statues in the background. It's a very cool silent panel. Like they're in the Lazarus pit, Superman's bringing Bruce Wayne down, and there's the like snakes like attacking men and stuff like that, and demons, and it just like it zooms in on those images as the process is going on. It's choice. And then Bruce jumps out like a fucking maniac. Goes straight for Superman's eyes with the thumbs.
Yeah, it's true. That was actually a great scene. The return.
Yeah.
I really like Bal's battle with Batwoman, where he gets that little fucking bead of kryptonite straight in his fucking eye socket.
Ah!
And then I like that it like just mutilates him permanently. It's fucking hilarious.
See that, but that's the stuff that a supervillain's made of, but it's all just sort of tacked on at the end. You put that stuff in the beginning, so the dude has a motivation to do this, that, and the other thing.
This guy already had the motivation. He was just like a malicious. He was like a fucking annoying, malicious Starscream the whole way through with no motivation.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a motivation that is no motivation. Yeah, I wanted to like this, like, and I did read it very easily in an afternoon. It went down smooth, like the whole time. Like I remember my son was having a friend over that day, and I was just sitting across from them, reading and ignoring them while they were just hanging out. But every once in a while, I'd shake my head and kind of laugh out loud, just to myself. I wish I could tell you boys how fucking stupid this is.
Easy, Bruce. Easy. I got you. It's true. And some things were funny, and I don't know. Some of the like panels and scenes were so grand and so like well drawn, and like the coloring was cohesive. Everything was. It had a lot going for it. For what it did, and it's just sort of a bummer, I guess.
Yeah,
in a way.
Yeah,
but I mean, I still think it's like, I don't know. I've flipped through it probably like 5-10 times after reading it, just because I just love the way it's put together. I don't know. Weird.
I think if we run another contest here on the Extinction Agenda, I'm going to put up for grabs Dark Knight 3, DK3, The Master Race, and also fucking Batman Hush, because I think it's sat on the shelf, it's been sitting there, and it's not coming. It doesn't naturally gravitate towards my hands for the flipping process. I've got plenty of things for that. So maybe one day if people are good. Do we have anything else about Dark Knight Master Race?
No, I don't. I don't think so. I guess.
Yeah. I don't like other than to. I feel like I've complained about its fucking structure and purpose, et cetera, but at the same time said nice things about it. I think that's what this book warrants.
Yeah.
Here's audience members. Here's some things that you can do for your pals over the Extinction Agenda. You can write a review for our podcast. Apparently this is important. Write good reviews, or at the very least give us a 5-star rating. I see people like pimping all this shit in podcasts. And today this is what we're going to do. Today we're pimping podcast. Give us a 5-star rating, write a little review, and tell one person that we exist, and say, hey person, do you like stuff? These guys might be good, and they can just find out that they're wrong, and that'll be fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, and we would appreciate any of that, and also just know in your hearts, like, we'll never monetize this anyway. So you're just helping friends spread the word of the
good word of Quar.
Yeah, that's right. That's who I was going there, but I couldn't remember his dumb name because he's so forgettable.
Yeah, he's really nothing. He's like a bald maniac who sends suicide bombers. Yeah. And then the other thing you can do is, as a citizen on planet Earth, given the current circumstances that we're facing, where shitheads like Elon Musk are threatening to sue or otherwise, or those Heritage 2025 pricks are actively thinking about how that they're going to target editors at Wikipedia for accurately producing history and fact. Give some money to Wikipedia. You want to do anything in your life to clean up the information sphere and make sure that it's not a world of lies that we're living in, give some money to Wikipedia. You'll thank yourself later. Because all that AI shit, all that stuff that gets scraped off the internet, the vast majority of it, I would imagine, is just Wikipedia entries. And so, yeah, that's something you can do. $2 a month. You won't regret it. Just like I'm sure you're not going to regret going out right now and buying Batman: The Dark Knight Master Race hardcover. Brian Azzarello, Frank Miller.
If we're doing it, I mean, at least you're kind of supporting Brian, I guess.
He needs all the help he can get.
Oy.
Now, all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.